Muted. Unmuted. Muted. Unmuted. Muted. Unmuted. Muted. Unmuted.
Hi, who just joined?
Hi, I'm Kunal over here.
Hi Kunal, this is Virender.
Hi, Viren.
And with me we have Mark and Laksh.
Hi, guys.
Hey Kunal, how are you doing, brother?
I'm okay, thanks. How about you guys? Okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So Viren, Kunal is the one I was telling you who just called me yesterday.
Hmm?
And and he's just ready to join. And like he's from UK.
Alright.
And Kunal, if you can just tell us something about you, like a little bit of introduction, like what you do, how much experience you have.
Okay, I started my career in development, and like 4 years after that I moved into testing, did bit of manual testing, then into automation. So currently I'm working on a Ruby framework. I'm more keen to learn about Java and related technologies, so hence this training. Been working for 10 years now. Yeah.
Okay, great. And when you were working as a developer, like you were into Java or some other language?
Yeah, I was into J2E at that time. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
So right now, what kind of project you are working on? Is it a web-based or some other type of project?
Yeah, it's a web-based solution which we are trying to make up for law firms.
Okay.
So I work for an organization called Scribestar.
All right.
How about you, Viren? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a software engineer in test. So it's actually a development engineer in test. And I will give you the complete introduction later also for the benefit of all the people in the group. But uh, just a small part of it is that I have total of 9 years of experience in this field, and I have been working on and off on various test and development projects. The technologies range from Java to .NET framework. Uh, this is pretty much it. So I will give you a complete introduction soon.
Sure. Yeah.
Virendra, I think again I'm able to hear your like typing strokes.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to confirm like it's from your side or from other side. So if you can just type it again.
Are you able to hear it now?
No, then
No,
it
it's
means
not
like
from
it's
my
not
side.
yours.
Yeah.
So yeah, before starting the meeting, just mute us all.
Okay. Okay.
And I think Srini has also joined us.
Hi, Srini.
Srini
That's
is
right.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, they're perfectly fine now. So I think that was a
Okay,
problem
fine.
from my laptop. And the meeting is initiated from Viren's side, and it's working fine for all of us right now. Okay, Shani, let me introduce you to Viren. Viren, Shani is from Ireland, and Shani, if you can give us a small introduction of yourself, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Virendra.
Yeah, hi.
Well, my name is Srinivas. I'm from Ireland, and I'm in IBM working for the last 14 years here.
All right.
I worked in different departments. Now I just want to see the flavor of automation.
All right. So have you worked before on automation? Like,
No, I haven't worked on the automation, but I've executed the RFT frameworks.
okay. And okay, so mainly you have been into the managerial stuff, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The thing is, I just want to see, because I don't know how you set up a framework, and I'm very poor in Java, like
Okay.
I don't know much about programming side.
All right. All right, not a problem.
I think Viren, Arul is also trying to join, but he has joined from the web session. So most probably he is not able to hear us. So let me give him a call and ask him to install the desktop software so that he can hear us.
All
Okay,
right.
so I will be on mute for a few minutes.
All right, sure.
No,
He's there.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
there
he's
on the
joined on
desktop,
the
yeah.
desktop session.
Mark, we will start the session right at 6. It's still 20 minutes left
Hi.
to start the session. Is that Arul?
Hi, it's
Hey.
Brahim.
Sorry.
Oh, hey Brahim, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Brahim. So, Brahim, we have other participants on the call as well, so we are just waiting for everybody to join.
Okay.
So, till the time, like, we are doing a small round of introductions. So, it would
Yes.
be great, like, if you just tell us about you, small introduction.
I'm not fluent in English, so it's a little bit difficult to me to introduce me.
Oh, okay. No, no
But I
worries.
can say
Yeah.
I can say a small word if you want.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want I begin now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. My name is Brahim. I'm living near Paris.
Okay,
I'm 40 years old.
okay.
I'm working in a insurance company, and I'm a manual tester. I'm,
Uh,
and I'm very interested by uh, automated tools,
okay, that's great.
and Selenium is very interested for me.
Okay, great.
That's good.
Voilà.
Thanks, Prem.
Thanks.
Great.
Hi, Laksh. This is Srini. I just want to say something to you all.
Yeah, why
I
not, Shani?
think there's actually a mute button. I can hear people humming words, like maybe they're using the headphones.
Yeah, okay.
So
So what
on,
we'll
on
do,
the
Shani, so, yeah, go
there
ahead.
is actually an icon there. If they can just click the green button, and then people can see can be muted by themselves. There's a green
Yeah,
button on the left side.
yeah. So, Shani, what we'll do, like, before starting the actual session, we will mute, Viren will mute us all,
Yeah, that's good.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great. Thanks.
I think Arul has also joined. Hey, Arul, are you able to hear us?
Sorry?
No, it's for Arul.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, now, yeah, we can hear you. Actually, you were on mute.
Yeah, I just intentionally kept on mute because I don't want to disturb by creating some noise.
Okay, no worries. So, you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, I'm good.
Yeah, great. So, Arul, just, we'll wait for just 15 minutes more.
Okay,
There are
no
other
problem.
people here. Okay, no worries. Thank you.
Hi Chandrasekhar, are you able to hear us?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I guess you have just joined, right?
Yes, yes, just now, just seconds back.
All right. So actually, we have a couple of guys in the meeting right now, and
Okay.
we are waiting for other guys, and the meeting will start at 6, which is another
Okay,
15 minutes from now. So
okay.
if
Yeah, that should be
you
fine.
can just introduce yourself to everybody, that would be fine. Just how many experience you have, how much experience you have, and how many different tools you have worked on, or what is the total experience about.
Okay, yep, no problem. Can I start like?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hi all. This is Chandrasekhar Janam. I'm working for Tech Mahindra. Totally, I have like around 6+ years of experience. Till now, I haven't worked on automation, so I've just started with this one.
All right.
So my entire experience is in banking and insurance domain. So currently, I'm in Melbourne and working for Medibank. That's a health insurance firm. So that's all about me.
All right.
So like I'm mainly into functional testing.
All right. So do you have any programming experience?
No.
Okay.
I only studied in my college.
All right. So you are familiar. So you are not familiar with the basic OOPS concepts, and you haven't worked on Java yet.
I haven't worked, but I've like in my college it was one of the subjects.
All right.
That's how it was. Yeah.
All right.
Are you able to hear us?
Yes.
Okay. So then Ravi has also joined.
Ravi. Yeah, Ravi has also joined. Hey Ravi, are you able to hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, your voice is little low. Do you have a mic, or is it like a laptop headphone? Laptop mic.
Yeah, sure.
So Viren, till that time, can we start with a little bit of introduction of the course, like what all we are going to cover and what we are all going to do?
All right, sure. So yeah, I can start with that.
Yeah.
I think someone just joined.
Ravi, this is from your side.
Yeah, I
There is
have
a lot of
muted.
noise coming from your, yeah.
I have muted Ravi. So
good.
yeah, so let me just take you through a brief introduction of what this course would be like, and what specifically we would be covering in this class. So well, this course is designed for both professional people plus who are not much aware about Selenium at this point in time. So this course starts with the basic programming fundamentals, and it starts with writing your first program, and then it gradually moves up to the basic OOPS concepts, and after that it takes a jump into Selenium, because as these programming concepts are very much important to work on Selenium, we brush up our programming skills, and then we move on to Selenium, where we start again from the basics of the Selenium, which includes like opening up a page, navigating to different pages, and after that we move on to some more advanced concepts there. For example, selecting an element, clicking on that, reading attributes of those elements on the web page, and then we move on to creating different types of frameworks. But before we start creating our frameworks, we try to explore some existing frameworks in the market, for example TestNG and JUnit, and from there we learn a standard behavior of all the frameworks, like what are the common parts in the framework, so that we can utilize that information to create our own frameworks. So once we reach to that point, after that, there are pretty much exercises which we will give to you, which will include a live environment where you can go and understand the requirements and create a test strategy around that environment, and then create some tests using Selenium. Once you are through with the tests, we will ask you to create your own framework based on, like, there would be group of people that we will create, and based on the requirements that you guys come up with, we will design a new framework and we will try to code it. So while coding the new framework, you will understand what are the difficulties in creating a framework, and it will also help you clear your concepts learned in the basic programming sessions, and you will utilize those concepts here, and you will try to internalize it just by practice. So this is the uber high level flow of the whole program. Today we will start with Java. We'll start with what Java is and how is it different from other languages. Then we will start with a market available tool, which is Eclipse, which is right off the shelf tool. This will be the integration development environment which we will use for writing Java code. I will give you a brief idea of what Eclipse is and what different windows in Eclipse do. Once we are through with the Eclipse, we will write our first Java program. So first Java program would be a very simple program which will just print out something on the console. We will try to just create a very simple program and give you an understanding of how Eclipse or Java runtime runs a program. So once we are done with that, we will move on to data types which are available in Java to store different information. So in front of us we have the slide which talks about Java data types. It would be, these are the native data types, and then we will move on to some other data types which are implemented as a class. Once we are done with that, we will move on to some concepts in OOPS, which is encapsulation, polymorphism, and abstraction. We will try to understand those concepts using some live examples that will help us understand it better. So this is it pretty much for this session, and tomorrow we will move on to more detailed Java sessions. I will share the information with you after this session. I think Usha has just joined.
Hi, Virendra.
Yeah, hi Usha.
Hey.
So Usha, we have quite a few people in the session. If you can just introduce yourself to all of us, just a short description about what you do and what kind of work you are doing right now.
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Usha, and I'm based out of Bangalore. I work for one of the IT giants here, and for almost 4 or 5 years I've been into QA. And partly I do manual testing, a little bit of automation, and I'm looking for enhancing my skills in framework development on Selenium, and that's the reason I'm here on this course.
All right. So so I think it's already 5:54 here IST. So shall we start with our training, or do we want to wait for a few more minutes, like around 6 minutes for other people to join?
I think when all of us are joined, there are other people, but those are not yet confirmed. So
Okay.
I do not have much hope from them. And so Arvind has also joined. So yes, we can go ahead and start the training. Just to make sure the session is being recorded.
Okay, so you have started the recording, right?
No, it has
Yeah.
to be from your side.
Okay, I have done that. So it's been recorded. All right. So before we start the sessions, I will introduce myself to everyone here. I have a total of 9 years of experience in the field of automation, actually in the field of QA domain. So in this experience, I have moved on and off from development projects to testing projects, and I have worked on variety of different frameworks, which were off-the-shelf frameworks like TestNG and JUnit, and there were many custom frameworks also which we developed based on the team's requirement. I have also worked on variety of languages, including .NET framework based languages like C# and C++. These are the current languages I'm working on, and I have also worked on Java, and mainly I have used Java for Selenium tests. Yeah, and I have not been into like website testing purely. I have been into web services testing as well, which doesn't require Selenium, and the thick client applications, which are the desktop applications. So this is pretty much about it. And a few minutes ago, I have just explained what will be the total, what would be the different sessions in this course, and how it will help you gain knowledge about Selenium, Java, and different types of frameworks, and creating your own frameworks. So I understand that this class has people with varied experience in programming. So I will start with the basics of Java, basics of any programming language, and from there we will move towards more refined concepts of Java. And I hope everybody will catch up with these concepts, because these are very basic concepts, and you might have gone through these concepts in your college time. So let us start with it. So this is the Java data types presentation, where this is what we will discuss about. The agenda is to discuss about variable declaration, primitive data types, and after that we will talk about classes and objects and arrays. So this is the first part of the session, and after that we will move on to object-oriented programming concepts. But before that, I would like to start with Java, just a basic understanding like what Java is and how it is different from other languages. So just give me a minute. Let me start with it. All right. So I hope everybody is aware of Java. It's a very famous language. Everybody nowadays, almost everybody is using Java. So Java is a simple it's a simple general purpose programming language which helps you write your program in a object oriented way. So Java is actually nothing but a compiler which is given to us by the Java organization, Sun Systems, and it allows us to create different programs. And the IDE that we will be using would be Eclipse. This is the IDE. I hope everybody is able to see my screen. This is the Eclipse environment that we will be using. This is a very good off-the-shelf development environment. So let us start with. Okay, so let us start with what are the components of Java. Java mainly comprises of the Java virtual machine and a compiler. So let me just draw it out for you. Just a minute. Okay, so if we talk about Java consists of two different components. One is the JVM and the other one is Java compiler. So it is represented by Java C. So whatever you write, for example, you write your Java classes, your Java code. Let's say you have created a simple program, which is this is your simple program, and you are doing certain stuff here. So what you will do, what Java compiler will do, Java compiler will parse your program, it will read your program and create byte codes out of it. Now these byte codes are not exactly machine languages, but these are binary codecs for for your JVM. Now what is JVM? So JVM is defined as Java Virtual Machine. And this Java Virtual Machine is a virtualization, is an abstraction of a computer which is hosted inside your computer. So this is not a real machine, but it's a virtual machine that runs on your computer platform, on your computer hardware. The purpose of this machine is to make Java programs independent of machine architecture. So let's say this is your machine. So it is running on a x86 machine, or probably a AMD 64 machine, or even a mobile machine. So this Java virtual machine will reside on top of your system architecture, and what will happen is that this machine, Java virtual machine, will read byte codes which is generated by your program and will execute them based on the computer architecture you are on. So this will convert this into machine codes based on whatever architecture it is. So machine codes, they differ from architecture to architecture. One computer which is an x86 type will have different machine codes as compared to a AMD 64 or a mobile device. So like this, Java virtual machine abstracts out the complexity of a machine and it makes Java programs interoperable. For example, it can run on any device. You have to just write your program once and everything will work fine on any machine you run it on. I think someone has just joined. All right, so just a minute. All right, so I hope you are clear with what Java virtual machine is and what Java compiler is. Any questions? Well, I think we have muted everyone. No, we haven't muted everyone. So if you have any questions, just give us a shout right away.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we have more than one JVMs inside inside a machine, a physical machine?
Well, it is practically, it is theoretically possible, but practically it's not. You know, you wouldn't like to have multiple JVMs running on your machine.
Okay. But I was just trying to understand if at all it is possible, how it is possible.
Yeah. So okay. So on server class machines where we have like a big machine which can do quite a lot of things. You can host multiple JVMs and you can give the Java home path, which is the different. So it would be nothing but different units of JVM installed on your machine, and every unit will have a different reference path.
Okay.
But you know, but most of the time you will just end up with a single JVM on your machine. Even if you try to update, add new JVM, you will end up upgrading the original one.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a Uber level architecture of JVM, Java, which is like Java compiler and JVM. Now let us move on to the different features that Java makes us. Java gives us. So Java is the very first thing about Java is that it is a free language. You can use it anywhere. You can use it on any type of machine, and it won't cost you anything. So that is the reason almost every corporate is going for Java, and it's a very powerful language. It has a very big user community, and it provides lots and lots of interfaces. It gives you lots and lots of out-of-the-box functionalities which are implemented by different people. For example, JUnit framework. It is a free framework. You can use it. You can run it. Then there is a TestNG framework. It's also free. And as the time goes by, we have more and more developers trying to create more and more free goodies for us. So this is a very ideal language in a project which has money constraint. So if client is not able to put in money into some paid languages, for example the .NET framework, languages on .NET Framework, so just go with Java. It has very good support. So also this is completely machine independent language. You don't have to worry about writing the code and compiling it into different languages. For example, in C++, you have to write your code and then you have to compile it based on the machine you want to run it on. So if it's a x86 machine, you have to compile it against the x86 compiler. So this way Java gives you lots of freedom. So now this was just a basic idea of JVM. Now we will move on to Eclipse. We will move on to what Eclipse is and how we can install it. Just a minute, let me close it down. So Eclipse is a free source tool which you can download right off the shelf from the Eclipse website. Let me take you there. So all you have to do is just type Eclipse download and it will take you to the Eclipse website. This is the place where you will find all the information about Eclipse. It gives you the latest builds and it gives you lots of good documentation around Eclipse. So this is the current version of Eclipse that you have, Eclipse Standard 4.4. All you can do is just download the executable which suits your system. If it's an x64 system, use this one. If it's an x86 system, use the 32-bit version of Eclipse. Once you do it, it will download an executable on your machine, run that executable, and after that it will take you through certain steps and it will install this environment on your system. So this is Eclipse and these are the different windows which you will find in Eclipse. So these windows might change. These are called perspectives. Each perspective has a functionality to show information related to that particular section only. For example, this is a package explorer which will give you all the information of different packages that are on your system right now that you have opened. Then we have this type hierarchy which gives you the hierarchy of a class that you have selected. We'll come to this. Before that, let me just close everything and start afresh. Okay. Okay. So Eclipse is divided into workbench, workspace, and perspectives. So what is a workbench? Workbench is where you write your code. This is your workbench right now. This is where you will write everything, your code. And then we have the perspectives. So these individual windows are perspectives. Now each perspective has a reason. If you want to see what the projects are right now which are open, you can include the project perspective and it will give you that information. To add and remove a perspective, you can go to open perspective and others. It will give you a list of perspectives that you have. For example, if your project is connected to CVS, you can just click on CVS repository exploring and based on the username and password, it will pull out your CVS repository. Then you have the browsing perspective which is open right now. And you can have the debug perspective also. We will go into debug perspective later on when we will run our program. And then there is Java type hierarchy. We have Java type hierarchy already. Yeah. So let us first see what a solution explorer looks like. Just a minute. Just a minute, I have just played with my perspectives and it's not showing up right now. Show view. Yeah, this is the package explorer. Yeah, from view also you can select different views. I want to see the project explorer. Yeah, so this is the project explorer. Now this will list down all the projects that you have opened in your workspace. So I have this array sample, class and object, Java first program, and oops concepts. So if I open my first project, I just have to click on the arrow here, it will open it up. So it shows two folders. This is basically, you will find these two folders in every project. One is the source folder and one is the JRE system library. Now these are the Java runtime libraries. So these are the libraries that you will require to run your programs. Plus right here after this you will find more dependent libraries which you have included in your project. For example, if you're writing a Selenium project, you will get a Selenium library set right underneath this. We will see it later on once we start writing our Selenium projects. So in the source folder, if you go more deep into the source folder, you will find that every source folder will have different packages. Every package, what is a package? Package is a collection of it's actually a box that is given. You can visualize it as a box. Let me just reopen one. Yeah, so a project, to have a beautifully arranged project, to have categorization in the project, there is a concept of package. Now every project will have multiple packages. Every package can be considered as a box. Now in every package you will have related sets of functionalities. For example, one package will contain all the math libraries, all the math code. The other may contain all the Selenium test code, and the other package may contain all the different utility libraries. So this way we are able to arrange our project into different packages. Now this signifies a package. This signifies a box in which you will pack in all your related functionalities. So I have just given it a name, another package, and in it you will find all the source files. A Java file is nothing but a text file which has an extension of .java. So if you click on that, you will see that this is where your code part will come up, and this window is called your workspace. This is where this window is called your code explorer. So here you will see all the information about your code. You can see that I have created a package called package, another package, which is the same as the package we have described here. And in this package we have defined a class. We'll come down to what different classes are and how we can create a class. But just to tell you about a package, this is how a package looks like. And as you move on to another file in this package, which is the program.java file, it contains the program which has a main method. So what is a main method? Main method is a entry point for your program. Every program will have at least one main method which is run as an executable. So any program which runs as an executable, which displays something, which runs on the machine, has a main method. Now whenever Java runtime, which is your JVM, whenever the JVM tries to run your program, it looks for a main method inside your program. So either you can tell JVM that this is where the main method is, or it will automatically identify the main method and it will start executing everything inside the main method in steps. For example, it will come here and it will first create an array sample object, and after that it will move on executing every step in a sequence. Any questions as of now? Okay, so I will start. I will move on. No questions. Yeah. So this is the significance of main method. You should have a main method in your program when you want to run it as an executable. Now, this was all about packages. We can explore other projects as well. You will find the same structure. As you can see, in every project you have almost the same structure. So this was pretty much it. Now, as you can see that whatever window, whatever .java file that you select, for example, the array sample, if I select the array sample, on the right hand side, which is the outline perspective, you will see the outline of the class. For example, here we have selected array sample.java, and it shows us array sample and the related attributes and behaviors of array sample class. You can see that it has a array integer variable which is signified here, and once you click on that, it will highlight the code part in the code window. Look, and then we have these methods inside the array sample class. So the importance of outline perspective is that it's a very small class right now, but let's say it's a class which contains thousands of lines of code, then it will give you a good outline, a good overview of the class in a very condensed format. It's the summary of your class. Similarly, there are many other views and perspectives that you can explore. So I will leave it up to you to find out the perspectives that interests you, and you may just explore them. Now moving on to the runtime explorer part. This is the runtime part. This displays information during the runtime. So we have the problems tab here, which will display all the problems in your program. So as we can see, let's say this is the problem, this is a warning. So you will see a warning in a yellow exclamation mark. All the warnings are simple warnings. It's better if you fix them, but if you don't fix them, the project will compile. It won't give you an error while compiling. But the problem with that is that it may be like you are not efficiently using the Java language. For example, the value, if we see this warning, it says the value of field vehicle.isCar running is not used. So it means that we have created a boolean variable isCar running, but we haven't used it anywhere. So it's almost like useless, and we haven't used it, so it's not necessary to write it down. So to overcome this error, we can just comment it out, and you will see the error will go. Look, the error has gone. But yeah, we have to declare it because we are assigning a value here. So this is your warning section. It will also display all the errors which are there in your program. For example, if I do a syntax error, you will see that one error pops up. This is a syntax error, and it will tell you what the error is. It says syntax error, insert the line ending symbol. So this is the one, and it will tell you where it is. If you scroll little further ahead, it will tell you exactly where the error is coming from. You can see that the error is coming from vehicle.java, which is this file, and the path is this. So it gives you the complete path when compared with your source directory. So it says oops concepts. It says oops concepts source simple oops. So if you go here, oops concepts source simple oops, and then vehicle Java. So like this, you can find out what the path is and what the line number is, and you can fix the problem. So this way, Java is very this Eclipse is very good integrated development environment that you can use. Plus, this also supports IntelliSense. So what we mean by IntelliSense is that it at runtime it finds out all the available methods and members of a class. So let's say I have a class, array sample class. if I click dot, if I type in dot after that, it will give me a list of all the available variables and methods inside the class, and not just the name of the methods and variables. It will tell me what type of variables they are. For example, there is a variable called array of bytes, which is of type an array of byte. So like this, it gives you quite a lot of information, and it also gives you the signature of the methods. So if I go down here, if I say print all data, it tells me that this function returns nothing. It returns void. So this way Eclipse is very good, and I will be using it through my later through our course material, and this will be our main programming environment. So I hope everybody will install it, and to install it you can just go to the Eclipse website as I've shown you here, or you can follow us on ToolsQA. There is a we have created a chapter there. Just a minute. Give me a minute. Yeah, so here you can go to Selenium tutorials. I think somebody has left his mic on. I have to mute them all. Yeah, it's clear now. So go here on toolsqa.com and you will find setup WebDriver with Eclipse. So it will tell you, give you steps on how to set up your Java environment, then how to set up Eclipse, and it comes with screenshots, so you will be able to find all the information quite easily here. And after that you can go to setup Eclipse, and it will tell you how to install Eclipse. Now with these environments ready on your system, you are good to go with all the practice sessions that we will have. Any questions till now? All right.
Hey Virendra, this is Arul.
Yeah, Arul.
I saw your website regarding the installation part of Java and Eclipse, but it looks like more for a Windows perspective. It would be great if you can add the Mac version of the installation procedure as well in the future.
All right, sure. We will definitely do that. I will add a point here.
Thank you.
Just a minute. I will add a point, and yeah, we will include that.
Thanks.
Mac. All right. Okay. So let us move on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's that?
Sorry, it's Srini here. Maybe while you're going through, would you also let us know about the shortcuts as well, like, on the Java? Maybe it will be useful as we go along. The keywords, yeah,
the keywords to run project or debug it, something like that?
Debug it, like, I think F3 and F7 to go back to the same class. It will be easy, like, as we go along.
Yes. So,
Thank you.
yeah, sure, I will do that.
Thanks.
All right. So let's move on to, that was a overview of everything around Java. Not everything, but yeah, whatever we need right now around Java. Now let us try to understand what data types are, and what exactly is the use of different data types in our programming. So let me, yeah. So every programming language gives you means to store data. So a data could be anything like a number that you want to store, or probably a string that you want to store. Now there are native data types in every language. Almost in every language there will be native data types, which are the data types which are inbuilt in the compiler. It's a part of the language. So we will talk about what are the different data types in Java. So before that, we will go with the concept of variable. So what is a variable? A variable, as the name suggests, is something that changes. Now, in terms of programming, it is a placeholder. It is a small amount of memory which is reserved for storing a variable information. So let's say if I show you in the program, in one of my programs here, we have declared int. So we can declare a variable like this. I will say int a. So what it will do, what this statement will do, it will reserve a space on my machine with 32-bit of information. So depending on what language and what architecture it is, it reserves a particular amount of memory on the platform for my use, and it will name it as A. So whenever in my program I want to refer to this particular location, I will just say A, and I will get the value inside that location. So if you want to visualize it, we can visualize this like this. So let's say this is your memory register inside your computer. So every register represents 1 bit. So this is 1 bit, and similarly we have like all these bits together, they make up bytes. So 8 bytes, 1 bit equals 8 bytes equals to 1 byte equals to 8 bits. Sorry for the confusion. So it's 1 bytes equals to 8 bits. Now when I say, let's say I said that I want to reserve a space for a data type which will be of type boolean. Boolean is a 1-bit data type, so it requires only 1 bit of memory. So what compiler will do, it will reserve a space which is equivalent to 1 bit for me, and it will name it, for example I said boolean A, it will name it A. So what will happen is that in my program I know that I have a fixed space which is A, and it is of length 1 bit, and I can use it anytime. So this is how compiler stores information. Now let's say I said I want a space for a data type int, and I want to name it my integer. So what it will do is it will reserve some sequence of space which will be equal to 16-bit or 32 bits based on different compilers and different platforms, and it will name it my integer. So this is the concept of reserving a space, and this is the concept of variable. Now this information can be these memory locations can be changed by me anytime. So when I will say A equals to false in my program, what will happen is that compiler will come back here, the runtime will come back here, and it will change the value in this position from 1 to 0, or probably 0 to 1 if I say true here. So this is how the whole thing works. And if I say my integer equals to 32, what it will do, it will put in the binary representation of 32 into all the reserved bits. So this is how programs work. This is how they change values inside memory. Now let us understand different data types. All the data types differ based on the amount of memory that they consume. So, and it is very important to understand how much memory each data type consumes, because this eventually helps you write efficient programs. Let's say if you want to store information which can be stored in one byte, you won't want to use an integer for it. It will save you additional number of 8 bytes or something. So let us go by all the primitive data types one by one. The first one is byte. If I look at byte, it is 8 bits equal to 1 byte, and the range it can store is from -128 to 127. So Now how we come up with the range, the amount of information it can store, is based on everybody knows that computers only understand 0 and 1. So let's say there are two memory places and each can store only two values, either 0 or 1, right? So these two effectively can store four values, right? 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1. So this is the binary representation. So if I say that a byte is 8-bit long, I know that there are 8 memory locations, right? So I can say that it can store 2 to the power of 8 number of values, which comes out to be 256. So if I draw it on number line, it will correspond to minus 127, minus 128 to 127. So this is how we define like what is the range which a particular data type can hold. Similarly, if we talk about a boolean value, let's say this is the boolean value, we know that it is equal to 1 bit. So we know that it will be able to store only 2 to power 1 values, that means 2 values. So either it will be true or it will be false, which in memory is represented by a 1 or a 0. So this is how different data types correspond to binary interpretation. Now this opens up a very good point, which is that you have to decide the data type which you want to use while storing your information. For example, I want to store number of days in a month. So I know that the value would be something between 1 to 32, right? 31. 1 to 31. It can never go beyond this. So I will not use an integer data type, or let's say or any bigger data type, let's say long, because it will be wastage of space. I can use a byte to represent it. So this is how we optimize our code. Well, we will come to that. So a byte stores 8-bit of information, and the range is from this to this. Now if you want to let us create a small program which tells us what different bytes are. Okay, so to create a program, all you have to do is just I think I ran too fast. All you have to do is just click on this icon. It is a new project icon and it opens up the selection wizard. All you have to do is just find out Java project and click on next. It will ask you the name of the project, type in the name, and it will give you the finish button. Let's say data type original. It will give you the finish button. Before that, you can select which the execution environment you want. Either you can use the Foundation 1.1 or you can use the JRE 8. I will prefer that if we go with JRE 8. And you will see that a new folder is created for your project. Just go to source and add a new package. So package is a place where we categorize information, and I will name the package as data types. It will create the package. Now all you have to do is create a class, and as we want to run this program, we want that it runs as an executable. I will name this class as program, and I will say that it should contain a main method. As I explained, main method is the method where the Java runtime from where the Java runtime enters in your program. So like this. Now let's see. So we were talking about the byte data type. This is byte, and to declare a data type, all we have to do is just name the data type byte and what is the nickname that we want to use. For example, I want to use my byte, and so this is this is simple initialization. This is simple declaration of a data type. So the way we have to read it is that I want a byte data type with the name my byte, and if you want to initialize it, all you have to do is my byte equals to 100, or let's say whatever value you want to give it to my byte. So this is how you declare a data type. Now okay, now you will see that this has only, as we discussed here, it has only 1 byte of information that it can store. So if I try to give it a big value, let's say this, you will see that an error will pop up. It will say that type mismatch. It will say cannot convert from int to byte. So it is too big a number for a byte to store. So this is how, you know, different data types relate to each other. So I cannot store information of int in a byte because it will be too big for a byte. Let's move on to the other data types. Here it shows how a byte can be declared, which is byte var name equals to 34. In this line we are declaring and we are initializing the data at the same time. So it says byte var name equals to C. Now if you give C, let's say, let me show you one really important thing here. If I say C, my byte equals to C, this single quotes is for characters. If you want to define characters, you have to use single quotes. Now what will happen is that my byte will store the ASCII value of C. So there is this statement which is system.out.println print. I think someone joined.
Yeah, hi, this is Snehal here.
Yeah, hi Snehal. So we are in the middle of the session. I hope you will follow along from here. If you don't, just let us know like whatever your doubts are. So right now we are covering different data types in Java. Those are the native data types. I hope you are familiar with that already. So yeah, just follow along in the course. And can you mute yourself? I think she left. All right. So let's say if you want to print the value of this, system.out.print is a print statement which prints the value on the console. So the value of my byte is, I will say, my byte. If I run this, it will say the value of my byte is 99. Here we gave it a value of C, but it was converted to the corresponding ASCII value, which is 99. So you have to be aware of these kinds of traps as well. So moving on, this was the byte data type. Then we have the short data type. Snehal, can you mute yourself? All right. So yeah, where is that? Yeah. So then we have this short data type, which is a 16-bit value. So 16-bit equals to 2 bytes, and the range is from minus 32,768 to 32,767 on the positive side. So you can declare a short using these statements. And then this is the integer data type, which is again which is a 32-bit data type, which is equals to 4 bytes, and the range is from 2 to the power 31 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1. So you can then we have the long data type, which is to store very long numbers, and it is a 64-bit data type. Similarly, after that we have a float data type, which is used to store decimal points. Now you can have non-integer values also. For example, 4.4, 4.34 or anything like that, which has decimal point. You can store it into a float data type, which is a 32-bit data type. Now then we have double, which is again a decimal point value, but well, I think there is something wrong here. It is a 64-bit data type that we have. This is there is a mistake here, typo. It's a 64-bit data type. Now boolean, as I explained, is a 1-bit data type. It either stores 0 or 1, and it is used for true or false kind of comparisons. So now let's move on to classes. Now what is a class? Yeah. Just give me a minute. Let me put Snehal on mute. Hey Snehal, I'm putting you on mute. Just mute all. Okay, so I've just muted all. Any questions till now? Okay, no questions.
Mr. Lakshay.
Hello? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mark.
Yeah, I just noticed while you were creating a class in Eclipse.
Yeah.
While you were creating a class in Eclipse, there was a checkbox there.
Yes.
Can you go back to Eclipse?
Yeah.
And then like when we're creating.
Just a minute, Mark.
Okay.
Just a minute. I think somebody is. I will mute all and I will just unmute you. Mark. Yeah, Mark. So.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Can you hear me? Yeah. During while you were creating a class under the beta types package.
Yeah. Let me create a class. Yeah.
Yeah, please. And then there was inherited abstract methods. What was that for?
Inherited abstract methods. So
yeah.
So well, you might have you might inherit from a abstract class. So abstraction is a part of our object-oriented concepts when we will come to that part. So this helps you inherit everything which is there in your abstract class from which you are inheriting. So I hope you understand inheritance, right?
Yeah.
So inherit abstract methods would be like it will write down all the methods right there so that you can you can implement it in your class. So I will show you an example later on if that's fine with you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So any more questions? All right, so let us move on to the next concept, which is a class. Now Java is a object-oriented language. Everything is written inside a class. So a class is nothing but let me show it to you here. So a class is nothing but a enclosure for whatever information that you want to group together. So let's say I want to define even before going into that. So in programming, what we do is we try to model our real world into programming world. Let's say we want to model let's say we want to model a car, and we want to create a programming model out of it. So let's say I create a class. Now in a class, ideally what should come is all the information about car, if I'm defining a class called car, then every information about the car should be inside the class. So let's say a car has tires, so I will say number of tires. So it defines like a car has these many number of tires. We can say that a car has a horn, a car has an engine, and then we can say an engine can be of engine size. So all this information we categorize into a one template, and that template is called a class. So class is nothing but a template to contain, to store the state and behavior of an entity that you are trying to model in the software world. So I have given an example of a cat class. So in this we are trying to model a cat. So if we think about cat, all we can think of is that to define a cat, we will say that it has 2 eyes, it has 4 legs, and it has 1 tail and 1 mouth. So we will, inside the class, we will define these variables, and after that it has some behavior as well. For example, a cat can do a meow, right? It can jump, it can sit, it can run. So all those behaviors we can encapsulate it inside a class. We can create a box, and in that box we can put down all the variables, all the information and behavior of a cat, and that is called a class. So class is nothing but a code template which stores the information about the object or the entity you are trying to create. So now let us create a class first, and then we will understand it better. So in Java, to create a class, let's say I have to create a class in the folder data types. All I will do is I will right click on it and I will say class. I will say new and class. It gives you this template. It gives you a window which asks you what type of class and the related information you want. So it says source folder. It will give you the path of the folder and the package inside which you want this class to be. So I will say that let us put it in data type. I want the class to have the name cat, right? And I will say I want to make it a public class. And I don't want a main method in it because it's just a model. It's not, it won't be executable. It won't run from here. It is just a model of cat. So I will do finish and it will add a cat class. So it will create a cat.java file, and this is where your cat class is. Now to define a class in Java, the keyword is class. So if I say class and the name of the class, so our class is cat. So this is how we define it. And before this you can put access identifier, which is whether you want this class to be private or public. Now there are a couple of different types of identifiers, but I will discuss only public and private right now because we have a different class scheduled for these access identifiers. So there are 2 types of identifiers, which is public and private. So public will make it available to everybody inside the package, inside this package, or people who are using this package. So someone from here, let's say from program.java, they can create a class called cat, my cat equals to new cat. So they can create this class right from anywhere. So this is the importance of public identifier. Now let us model this cat. Now every class will have some member variables. Now a member variable is nothing but the variables inside the class. So these are related variables. For example, the eye count, it is related to cat. That's why it comes inside the cat class, and all these are member variables. So I will say I can even define this member variable as public eye count. Then I can say public int eye count, leg count. And similarly, let's say I want to know the color, so I will say public string eye color, fur color. Let's say there are cats which have different color of fur, so let's say the fur color. So these are the variables which will define our class, and these are the variables which will store the state of the class. That means there could be a cat which has fur color of white, and there could be another cat which has fur color of brown. So this will distinguish these two cats by storing that information in the variable, in the fur color variable. Similarly, you can have other variables, but let's say these are the only three attributes of a cat that we want to save right now. Now every class has a constructor. Now what is a constructor? Constructor is the method inside a class which is called when the class is initialized. So don't worry about it right now. Let me show you how to define a constructor. A constructor is of public type and has the name exactly same as that of the class. So I will say public cat, and this becomes the constructor of the class. Now inside the constructor I can do lot of things like initializing the variables. I will say iCount equals to 2, this dot leg count equals to 4, this dot fur color equals to brown. Let's say this is a brown colored cat. Now this is how we create a constructor. Now the property of constructor is that this is the very first method which is called whenever your class is instantiated. So let me show you. So whenever I run this statement, what will happen is whenever the runtime reaches here, it will look out for the cat class, which is this, and it will call onto this method, and it will execute everything inside this method. Now the constructor does not specify the return type. You can see that it has not specified what type it will return, but the constructor always return the type of the class. So it will always return a cat class, instantiated cat class, so, and which will be inserted here. So if you want, I can run it through. So we can print the name of the cat. Okay, so I will show you how the constructor is called. So as we were talking about debug, as we were talking about different shortcuts to run a project, all you have to do is just click on run and then run or debug. So the shortcut is Control F11, and for debug it is F11. So if I say run, if I do a debug, what it does is it runs the program, it switches the perspective, Eclipse switches the perspective, and it goes into the debug perspective. Now there are different windows. Don't worry about what these information is right now, because we will explain everything about how to debug your programs later on. So now it reaches this method. It is, so this line shows that this is where the Java runtime is right now. So from here it will start, it will try to create an instance of my cat. Now you will see that I can debug into it, step into it. Step into means I will go inside this statement. So I will do a step into, and you will see that the very first thing it does is it goes to the constructor of the class. So this is what we mean by constructor, and that's why it is called as a constructor, because it constructs the class. Now if we just loop through it, you will find that it will take you, it will construct a class, and if I put my mouse cursor over my cat, you will see that it gives you all the information about the class, about my cat object. So you can see that it says eye color is 2, the fur color is brown, and the leg count is 4. And if I run it, you can see that it says the color of my cat is brown and the value of byte is 99. Well, I haven't printed it into different lines, that's why everything came in one line. So this is how a class is created. Well, I think probably you might have some questions here. Anybody, any question?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Can you maneuver the mouse on my cat?
Oh, just give me a minute. Let me start it again. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the debug mode, we can see the ID.
Yes.
One ID equal to 16, the other ID equal to 20. What is that ID?
Well, ID, you will see that, okay, well, ID is for internal reference here. It is for the program to, so these are nothing related to what you have entered. It is, so they categorize all the data types. So as you can see here, it says data type dot cat, and after that it gives a unique number. So you might find that these IDs change every time. It is a identifier inside the program, like to identify where different, not exactly where, but just to categorize your data, just to identify it, giving it a unique number.
Okay.
Yeah,
and,
any specific reason you asked for ID? Like,
no, I thought it's pointing to some kind of memory location or something. So I thought.
Yes. So, okay. So well, in C++ world, you will find the complete memory address here. So if you'll go into the C++ world, it is the complete memory address. But here it eventually points to something in the memory. It eventually points to the location of my cat, or so ID equals to 16. But you know, the 16 number is quite consumable for us. It's 16. But memories are named like 0, FFF, OFFF, you know, it's a 18-bit. It's a very complex number that you get there. But in Java, probably they are hashing it and converting it into a single number, which is easily consumable. But yeah, it definitely goes to a memory location, or probably a location somewhere in a table where this data type is stored.
Okay. I have one more question.
Yeah.
Is it mandatory that every time I initialize my variables inside the constructor?
No, it's not mandatory. It's a good practice.
Okay.
So so right now what we have done is that we have initialized the variables here, but in a real world scenario you would not want these variables to be initialized inside the constructor. You would, for example, let me give you another example. Let's say this cat has a name also. So whoever creates a cat instance will tell me what the name is. So I will probably take string cat name, and I will say this dot name equals to cat name. So I will take the cat name from the user. So our program here will become something like this. Let's say I have created a new cat and I want to name this cat as Sophie. Right? So what will happen is that if I debug it, Now if I debug it, you will see that this cat has a name also. Now this gives me an ability, this gives me the ability to let user of my class create values inside my class. For example, they can name my class, name the cat inside the cat, they can name the variable called name inside the cat class, and they can, if I just add, let's say if I just add one more thing, fur color, let's say I can ask the user what the fur color is. So it will say this dot fur color equals to fur color, right? So that way any user can create a type of cat which they can customize. Let's say they created a brown colored cat, right? So to answer your questions, it's not mandatory to initialize all the variables inside the constructor, but it is a good practice. So so it may be possible that somebody created this class, and after that they tried to access a member method of the class, but they, while trying to access the member method, these variables are not initialized properly, so the program might crash. For example, they may get an invalid integer value, or they may get an invalid for name value. So it is always a good practice to initialize your variables inside the constructor. Either take it from the user of the class or just give a default value.
Okay. And is it also possible to pass these values outside of Eclipse? I mean, right now we are passing the values as parameters to the class. Can we do it? I mean, the question came, from QTP experience, because in QTP, we pass the values from outside. So suppose if a class has X number of parameters, and those parameters keep changing. So is it possible to pass the values of parameters from the outside world, outside of Eclipse?
Outside of Eclipse. Okay. So okay. So if I'm not understanding your question right, no, if I'm understanding your question right, you are saying that so you can pass the values in different ways. You can create a configuration file, you can read the file, and you can pull out values from there and store it in your class variables. So this is how you can do that. So plus the main method has string args array. You can see it here. All the main method, this is the main signature of a main method. It says that it gets an input which is of types array of string. So here you can pass some values to the program, but it is a one-time passing of value. Whenever you start a program, you can give some arguments there, and all those arguments will come as an array of string inside your program, and you can use them later on. So these are the two ways. You can either read the config files which are stored on your system drive and assign it to the variables here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions?
Sorry, Winter, not taking too much time here. I just want to understand program.java and cat.java. Both look similar, right?
Yeah.
But here in the program.java, you have initiated public static void.
Yeah.
Could you just let me know the reason behind it?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So this is a very special method. Your Java runtime, which is the execution engine, which is the JVM, virtual machine, whenever it tries to run your program, it tries to find a method called main. Now this method is where your program starts from, and the mandate of this function is that it has to always be static, and it has to always not always, but it should return a void type. It can actually return an int type also, but this is the primary signature of it. So that's why it is here. This is where the compiler will the Java runtime will enter and start executing the code.
Does it mean that you can have another class called dog and car.java, but you can execute from program.java? Is that right?
Yes, you can have more classes. You can have n number of classes, but your program will start from here only.
Yeah, I got you now. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, but there is one more point. You can have multiple main methods in your whole whole code base. So that's a trick in Java. Actually, in C++ you can only have one main method, but in Java you can have multiple main methods. The trick is that in those cases you have to specify which main method you want to use to start your program. So here, if we go to, let me show you, if we go to run and run configurations, it will take you to the main tab. This is where you specify that in which method you want to start your class from. So in data types, data types project, we have data types.program. This is where it should find the main method, just in case there are multiple main methods. Otherwise it will find it itself and it will start executing from there. Alright, any more questions?
Mr. Lakshay.
Virendra, I had a question.
Yeah.
Right, in that program class which I see there, can I have one more main method, or what you referred earlier was in separate Java classes I can have separate main methods?
Yes.
So it means that in...
Yeah, tell
sorry.
me. Yeah, please.
So it means that in that program.java class, or in general, a particular Java class can have only one main method.
Yes. So okay, so probably I did not get your question correct. You are saying that in a program class we can have multiple main methods, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can write it down. You can say that let me have two main methods, but it will give you a reference error. Look, so you can have main method, but you cannot have the same signature, because at runtime JVM will not be able to identify which main method to call from these two.
Okay.
So that's why each class can have only one main method. But the trick is that you can have a main method with different signature. If I remove this input variable, it will compile perfectly fine. It will run, but the compiler will Java runtime will only go to this main method. It won't go to this main method.
Okay, yeah. And the other question which I had is, we just go to cat.java file which you've created there.
Yeah.
I see that inside the constructor there's a keyword, this.
Yes.
I was just wondering if you could explain that right now, or do we have another session where you will talk about constructors and the keyword this? Because I see for your variables like I count or leg count, you are actually initializing to a particular value. But the last line which I see there, this dot for color, you're actually calling the variable that you're passing to your constructor there.
Yes.
So if you could just explain that keyword, this, it'll be really helpful.
Sure. So this means this means that it is the instance of this class. So this is a keyword in Java which refers to the class in which it is called. For example, if I call it here, it will give me an instance of this class only. So if I to understand it, if I do this dot, you will see that all the variables from this class are listed here. So it is actually getting a reference of cat class inside the cat class. Right? Now, why I have used this? So this is also a good point. This is a good question. This is also used to remove ambiguity. Let's say I said this dot. No, before that, you can see that I am passing a variable called fur color, which is exactly same as the fur color, the name of the variable in the class, right? These two are the same variables. Now, as they are the same variables, if I do this, you will see that it will give me a warning. So it will say, so while compiling, the compiler will confuse itself, saying that which fur color is which one. Is it the one which is being passed, or is it the one which is the class member variable? So to remove this ambiguity, we use this dot fur color.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So can I draw a conclusion that if my class has instance variables whose name is similar to the names that I'm either passing to a constructor or a method, in that case, to avoid confusion to my compiler, I'm using this keyword.
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yeah, this is one reason to use this.
Okay.
There are many other reasons to use this. For example, you want to reference a variable inside your class only. So it is a good practice that you do it with this dot, whatever the variable name is, because it to the reader of your code, it gives a very clear picture that yeah, I am referring to a variable inside the class only. So so you can consider it as a good to have thing. Plus it is used in many other ways also, but right now these are the two ways which will give you a clear picture of the existence of this keyword.
Okay, say for instance, if I'm trying to use one of these variables, say like an I count or a leg count in my program.java file, and if I have declared my variables as static earlier, then I can use them by using my class name, right? Say like cat dot that.
Yes.
So what you're trying to tell me is, in a particular class, if I'm trying to use a variable, if I use a keyword called this, it means that I'm using the variable of that particular class in the same class itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I get that. Thank you. So these are the only two reasons for which we use this, or there are multiple reasons too? There are any other reasons also?
Well, yeah, there are quite a few other reasons also. But you would see the use in the C++ world more as compared to the Java world, because Java is a managed language and the compiler is really smart. So while compiling, it removes those ambiguity by itself till the time it is able to. That's why you probably would only find the use in these situations. If you look at code from other people, you will just find these two uses. But in a C++ world, you will find it quite often. So let's say, so there is a concept of lambda functions. So let's say if you want to pass a value to a function, you can just say this. So it will pass itself into the function. So the whole class will go there. So those are like little advanced concepts, hardcore programming concepts. So it has a couple of other uses, but right now these are the good enough reasons for you.
Okay, and one other question which I had was, I remember you said that it's a best practice to actually initialize your variables inside a constructor.
Yes.
So, now the one that we have over here is a argumented constructor where you're passing your arguments.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, I might be wrong also, but my understanding is if a user does not specify if they do not specify any argument at all, the compiler itself will place a no argument constructor in every class.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
It is correct.
Yes. So what happens is that every class, if you skip a constructor, let's say you skipped a constructor, you did not write it. So what a compiler will do, it will insert this statement while compiling. So what it will do, it will create a constructor for the class by itself, and what it will do, it will give a default value to everything, all the member variables.
Okay, all right.
So it will create, so the default value of integer is 0. So whenever you instantiate an integer, it will by default come to 0. So it will create 0 eyes, 0 legs, and fur color to null and name to null. So to avoid those situations, but you know, when you're creating a cat class, you wouldn't want that. You will always want the eye count to be 2 and the leg count to be 4. So so that's why you always override the constructor of a class.
Okay. Yeah, that answered my question. Thank you.
Any more questions?
No, I'm done. I'm done with my questions.
All right. So yeah, so we were.
I have a question here.
Yes.
In this cat.java, we have these public variables, right? So
yes.
Can these be private?
Yes, they can definitely be private. So right now, okay. So whether the variables are public or private, it depends on what functionality of what functionality of your class you want to expose. So it's perfectly fine if I say private. If I say private int I count, it is perfectly fine. But with this, I am assuming that nobody out who is using this class template will use any of these keywords, yeah, any of these variables. So you will see that now it is giving me a compilation error that cat class has no methods exposed. You will see that cat dot, when I do not cat, my cat dot, when I do my cat dot, it will not show any of the variables that you have declared earlier in the cat class. So it makes it not usable for other people. So this class is not usable for other people, but there is a workaround to this. So usually we make a variable inside a class private because we either don't want anyone to use it, or we don't want anyone to change the value of that variable, right? So these are the two reasons. So let's say the reason is that you don't want people to use this variable. In that case, you can perfectly do a private int I count and leave it. But let's say you want people to use that also. So what you will do, you will create a pseudo function, not a pseudo, a wrapper function, and you will say public int eye color, and what you will do is you will return this dot eye color. Sorry, eye count. Sorry, this is eye count. So you will do EYE count. Let's do this. So by this, what you have made is you have made sure that people can use the variables inside the class, but sorry, this is public. So you have to create a public wrapper method which will expose the variable to other people, but it will make sure that nobody can change the value of it. So this way what will happen is that you can, so to find out whether to find out how many eyes they have, a cat has, so we can do a eye count. So I can do a eye count. This way I have made the variable private, plus I have exposed it to the people outside the cat class to access the variable. You got my point?
Yeah. Yes. Another question is, in my cat.java, I have these variables declared, and inside the constructor I'm initializing them. Can I have the same set of variables declared in my program.java and initialize them in that class's constructor as it is?
I did not get your question.
Okay. Now, say for example, in your cat.java, you have private int I count, and in the constructor public cat, you're initializing the I count. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Can I have private or whatever public int I count in my program.java as well, and initialize in the constructor of program.java that iCount variable?
Well, you can't do that. Program method
Will it throw any kind of error?
Okay, so if I'm not wrong, what you are saying is that public, let's say we made iCount public. Are you saying that can we do this? iCount equals to, let's say, 40. Are you saying this?
No, I'm not saying that. I will have another constructor for my program class as well.
Okay. No, you cannot do that. So that will be a constructor of, well, this is a program with main method, so it won't have the constructor thing.
Say it doesn't have the main method, okay? It's another class like the cat.java, and there I have a constructor of that second class, and I'm trying to initialize the same variable here as well, wherein I'm declaring the variable again here, but it's the same name variable. So will my compiler or JVM throw any kind of error or some kind of exception or something that it should?
Well, I'm not I'm not able to understand it properly. So probably what we will do is that after this meeting, I will talk to you separately, and we can figure out what the question is, and we can share it with the class in the next session. Would that be fine? Okay. Well, I hope it's fine.
Virendra, I just had one more question for you.
Yeah.
You showed us actually a getter method.
Yes.
Where you're actually trying to get the value of a variable from one class to the other class when a variable is made private.
Yes.
On the same lines, can you just show me a setter method where I'm trying to change the value of a variable?
Okay. So you can do it like this. Int count. So what I have done here is I have created two methods with the same name. This is called method overloading. So so what will happen is that this method accepts an no, this is not method overloading. So one method will accept integer as the input, and it will assign it to the iCount variable, and the other will.
Is it method overriding?
No, this method is not overriding because we are changing the signature here.
Okay.
So
okay, the return value. Okay.
Yeah. So what will happen is that cat dot my cat dot. So there are, you will see iCount and iCount int. Right? These are the two methods. So you can put the value, let's say 90 here, and what will happen is that myCount.iCount will call it, and it will change the value there.
Okay.
So I think these are very specific questions to Java, and some people, like most of the people, might not be able to understand it. So we will move on, and I hope that you understand these questions later on. We'll come back to these questions again if time permits. So any more questions specific to how to declare a class and how to use it?
None so far.
All right. So I'm sorry, any questions? Okay, so let us move forward. So this was a class. Well, we really try to understand what a class is. So just a minute, where is that? Okay, so now what is an object? So class, as we understood, was a template to define what you are trying to model In our case, we were trying to model a cat. Now, this is just a template. It is the code part. It is a static part. So all the code will reside inside it. Now we can create instances of it. So if I were to visualize it, I will do it like this. So let me just. So I created a class which we, for the sake of simplicity, are representing with a box, and we named it a cat. We named that this is cat. Now this is a class. We can create different instances of it. We can create cat1, which has brown fur and name as Sophie, let's say. We can create cat2, which is black and has like a Blackie, name Blackie. And similarly, we can create more instances out of it. So we are creating an instance. Now these instances are called objects. Each instant is called an object. Now object is a real-time memory reference. So in memory there are valid values inside for a particular instance, and we refer to this instance, this memory instance, by the name of the class. So let's say cat1. Cat1 will refer to its memory location, and cat2 will refer to its memory location. Now this is how we are executing the same code, but we have multiple states. By state I mean that one cat is brown and has name Sophie, the other one is black and has name Blackie, and we have multiple states of the same class. So this is a very important concept in object-oriented programming because it allows code reusability. We have just created one class, one instance of, we have just created one template and we have reused it many times. This is one of the core principles of programming, object-oriented programming. So now we are clear with the concept of an object. An object is the entity which we use to perform various operations inside the class. So as you can see that to instantiate a class, we will first say the class type, we will give it a name, and we will say new. New is the keyword which creates the memory for the class inside our systems. So we will say new cat, and we will pass on the constructor values. In this case we have like quite a few values which we haven't shown in our program, but yes, these are the values whatever the constructor requires. Now the important difference between an object and a class is that object has a lifetime. Now let's say when we declared cat1 will have a lifetime. After some time, after it goes out of scope, everything inside the memory will be deleted about cat1. Now this is very important thing inside in programming, the scope of a object. So let's say I want to explain to you what is a scope. I will say that this cat, my cat, is visible to everything inside these two curly braces, right? So this is the scope of cat, and curly braces define the scope. So anything which is declared inside it will only be accessible inside it, inside the scope, inside these two characters, these two curly braces. If I try to access it outside it, which actually syntactically I cannot do right now, but I won't be able to access it if I try to do it outside this place. To show an example, I will create, well, this used to work in C, but let me see whether it works here. Let's say I created the scope. This is the scope parameters, the scope characters. So here, these two curly braces, this gives you a lifetime. And if I say, let me create a new. So if I do this, opening braces and closing braces, it defines a lifetime. And if I do this, it defines a lifetime, another lifetime. Inside it, there is another lifetime, which is this one. And here it ends. The first lifetime starting from here ends here. And the inside one ends here to here. So let me explain to you how it works. So this is our scope, and I created a cat called cat1 equals new. Let me just copy it from above. Cat1, and you will see that if I try to reference cat1 here, it won't be able to do anything. Look, if I see the error, it says cat1 cannot be, look at the second error, cat1 cannot be resolved to a variable. The reason is that cat is not accessible outside this scope. This cat1 is not accessible outside this scope. But if I again create a cat outside this scope, and I say this is cat2, and I try to access cat2 here, it will be perfectly fine for me to access it here. Because the reason is that this scope is nested inside this scope, this one and this one. So any object declared outside will be accessible to this, but any object declared inside this scope will not be accessible to anything outside. This is really important. Any questions in this one? Okay, no question.
I think it is clear already.
I'm sorry, Mark?
I've got no question anymore.
All right. So this is how a scope is defined. So this is the main difference between a class and an object. Class doesn't have scope. Class is a static thing, but objects have scope. They have lifetimes. So if you try to access an object outside the scope of it, outside the scope, it will always give you a either a null pointer or not a valid variable, or cannot be resolved to a correct variable. Okay, so any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Is that, Arvind?
Yes, Arvind.
See, just like we have classes as public.
Yes.
I was just curious to know. About the uses of objects. Can they be public? Can I make use of the objects in other programs?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question, please?
I was saying that just like we have classes as public.
Yes.
So can we have the objects also as public?
Yes.
Can we access it outside that? Yeah.
Well, yes, objects can always be public or private. So you can see that here these are private objects. Length count is an object. It's an object of class type string. Name is an object of class type string. So these are objects, and these are not accessible outside. These are not accessible outside the class scope, the cat class scope, which is represented by the starting curly braces and the end. I'm sorry, this one to the end one. This one.
No, but these are not objects. These are variables, right?
Okay. Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So cat2 is also a variable, but it is a variable of a class.
But it is an instance of a class.
Yeah, it is an instance. Okay. So variable. So anything that can change is a variable.
Right.
It can be of type class. It can be of type native variables. Native variables like bytes and int. So it can be of any type.
Okay.
So let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say I create another class, and I name it simple class, right? And this simple class is in the package data type, so it will be accessible by our cat class. So we can say that I want to declare a private. I want to declare a, sorry, where is that? Private simple class, my class. So I have just declared an instance of simple class inside my cat class, and I have made it private. So definitely we can create any instance as private or public.
Okay.
So now as this is private, nobody outside the cat class will be able to access it. So if I do cat dot cat2 dot, you won't find simple class here, my class here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Does it clear your
Yes.
question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right. All right. So let us move on to the next part of the session, which is string objects, which is string arrays and strings. So I hope you all are clear with arrays and string. I will give you a quick overview of arrays. Let me just remove everything from here. Now, most of us know about arrays. Just for the people who are new to Java, I will explain array quickly. And here it is. So an array is a collection, a fixed length collection of same objects. So an array can be considered as a sequential compartments, and each compartment holds a value of same type. So let's say we have a variable of integers, array of integers. It will store all integers, and it will store integers in a contiguous locations, one after the other. And let's say we have an array of cats. It will store all the cats sequentially, and we can hold multiple cat objects here. Now this is an array. To declare an array, we have a simple, I have a sample for array. So to declare an array, all we have to do is do a int, whatever type of array we want to declare. Let's say we want to declare an array of int, and after that I will do these two brackets, opening and closing brackets, and I will name my array. Let's say my int array. Let's say this is the name of the array. Now this will create an array. Right now we have just declared an array. So while declaring, there is no memory location that is being allocated to my array, but to this variable. But arrays have a property that they have to be fixed length. This means that while declaring an array, while constructing an array, we have to tell how many compartments it needs to store the values. So in this case, let's say I have my int array, and I want this array to store 10 integers. So I will do array dot my int array equals to new int, and I will say that I want to store 10 integers. So what will happen is that whenever I will run this program, it will create 10 locations side by side, and it will reserve it for my array. Now we can, so I hope you are clear with the my array declaration. Now we can see that we can assign values to arrays also. So let me give you an example. So let's say I want to assign the value of one compartment inside an array. So every compartment, as shown in this figure, every compartment is indexed. The index starts from 0 and it moves on to whatever value, whatever number of compartment we have in the array. So if I want to index the 0th compartment, so I will say my array, I will show it here. So my int array, and I will say, let's say I want to put in the 0th compartment a value which is 89. So I will do this. So what will happen is that in my int array, it will put a value as 89 at the 0th zeroth position. Similarly, at 1, if I want to put 89, 67, you can see that if I run this program, I will quickly run it. If I debug this program, yeah, it will take me here. Now, if I see, if I hover my mouse over my int, you will see that it has created 10 places from starting from 0 to here, and it has, in this statement, as I pointed it to 89, it has put 89 as the first element inside the array. Similarly, my int array 1 will insert 67 at the next location, the first index position. So this is my these are the array data types. Similarly, arrays can be arrays has a very interesting method, which is very interesting property, which is length. So array.length gives you the number of elements inside the array. It gives you the dimensions of the array. So as it is a single dimension array, it gives you total number of compartments inside the array. So I have a small program. I will share it with you later, and it will give you how you can access arrays, how you can insert values into arrays. Let me show you. Yeah, here. So these for statements, if you don't understand it right now, don't worry about it. We will cover it later on in the next session. But yes, you can index it through, you can index an array through by giving the position of the index. Any questions in this? Alright, so let us move on to another very important data type, which is the string data type. This is used to store string values. So we had used it already in our cat class. You will see that we created a string variable called name and fur color. So it can store an arbitrary length string. So it shows that I have stored fur color as brown, and it is a 5 characters long. So this is how you store string values. To refer to string, you can just call the variable name, and it will be printed, or you can easily refer to it. And it is different from a character, because in character, so every string value is accompanied by opening and closing quote, apostrophe, what do we call it? These two, just a minute, something went wrong. Start. Oh yeah, the slideshow completed. So as I was talking about strings, to create a string variable, just a minute. My system is a little slow. So as I was saying, just to create string variables, you have to include it in the quotation marks. I hope these are quotation marks only. So yeah, so in the quotes, and to declare a character, you have to put it in opening and closing, what do we call, apostrophes. Yeah, so this is how you create a character, and that is how you create a string. All right, a quick view at what we will be covering next. Okay, so any questions still, string data types? Okay, no questions.
Viren, so
yes,
it would be great, like, if you can show us few example of how to use strings, like what are the methods we do have with the string.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can talk about it in details. let's carry forward the cat example, and let's see how we can manipulate strings and how we can use it. So as we discussed earlier, cat, my cat, and we had okay.
I would suggest like stop using this class, and if we simply take a simple example of string, and then we would be able to print the values or something like that.
Okay.
Because probably like it will be an overdose for the people like who are just a beginner in Java.
Okay. Okay. So let me, yeah, sure. Let me take an example here. Let me create a string object, and let's say this is called my string, and it has a value. This is my string, right? So string is implemented as a class. It's not a native data type. So my string comes up with really good methods. For example, it comes with a method called length. So this method will tell you how many characters are there in the string class, the string. So you can consider string as a sequence of character array. So each character being the character inside an array and starting from 0. So you can say that T is at 0th position and H is at 1, and as we move along it increases by 1. So the string class comes up with this method called length. So let's say we want to see what is the length of the string that I'm using. The length is, and I will do a simple this. So you will see when I run this program, it prints out the length of the string. So the length is 17, and you will count it will come out to be 17. Now it has couple of more string manipulation methods. For example, character at. So it will give me the location of the character. Let's say I want the location of the character at 0th position. So I will say I need a character test car equals to, I will say give me the character which is at position 0. So all I have to do is do my string dot character at, and it will give me the character at position 0. So if I run it, I will run it later. I will show more methods about my string. My string dot, you can compare two strings. You can say that compare two, and I can say that this is another string, and it will try to compare. Now if you look at the compare method, it returns int. Now if you will look at the definition, if you look at the definition of compare to method, it returns a int value which is shown here. This int value tells whether this string is present, whether this string is present in this string or not. So it is a very good comparison method which helps us find out the substrings of a string. So if I say whether my string contains a string called is, it will return the index position of is. It will return me the very first character value, which is I in this case, and it will return the index value of where it found the match. So it will say it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will return 5. It will tell me that is was found at the 5th index point in the main string. Now we have more methods like let me show you it by running the program. If I debug it, okay, so it gave me the length. Now if I look at this, it will tell character at at position 0 is T, as we would expect, because at position 0 the character is T, and the in position, which won't come right now because there is no index, there is no breakpoint. Okay, so I will print this. The substring is present at, and I will say position. So if I run this program, it will give me the substring is presented minus 21. It is because it's not able to find is inside the string. Minus 21 compared to is. Just give me a minute. Let me. I think I'm wrong. So I will get back to this example because I think I'm wrong in understanding of the compare to method. I have to look at the Java docs. So let me also show you how to look at Java docs. So Java docs is a very important place for all the Java programmers because it gives you the definition of a function. So if you do string.compare to, it will give you just search for that and it will give you the compare to method. No, sorry, this one. Yeah, so go to docs.oracle.com and here it will give you the documentation about the string class. So if I search for compare to method, it says that compare to is a comparator that orders string objects by the compare to ignore case. Okay, it ignored the case. So here you can get all the information about it. Probably right now it's not the right time to actually read through it. So I will get back to you on that method, but let us explore more methods here. MyString dot contains is another method which returns a boolean. So if I say does this string contain is, so it will tell me true or false whether it contains it or not. So let me put it here. Present, and I can say that. So I'm checking whether in my string we have is substring. So if I run this, it will say the substring is present, true. So it said that yeah, the substring is present inside the string. So this is how you can verify whether a string is present inside a string or not. Now these are inbuilt methods of the string class. Well, instead of going through all the methods, I will refer you to this page, which is on the Java website. It gives you a very good explanation of how you can use them, and there are lots of other methods. For example, we were talking about index is empty, whether the string is empty or not. So these are the different methods which you can use while writing your programming logic. So I will refer you to this this page because there are like lots of methods, around 30 odd methods for the string class, and we cannot go through all the methods right now. So if you get any question in any of the methods and if it's not working for you, just let me know. We will take care of it. We will give you the explanation. Any questions till now? Okay, no questions. So let me move forward. Yeah, so well, it's already 7:54. Probably we will take this up, the OOPS concept, in the next class. So the idea of the next class would be to go through the object-oriented principles, which are encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism. So you will use this while designing your frameworks, because designing frameworks is all about categorizing your code, separating your code, your implementations in categories so that they can be reused sufficiently. So these concepts are really very important for us to understand. And here only we will come with the concept of abstract classes, which I think one of the team members have asked earlier. So do you want me to start off with these right away, or shall we do it tomorrow? Anyone?
Can we do it tomorrow?
I think we should take it up on the next session.
Okay.
And it would be a great idea, like if we able to give some practical exercises later on the string manipulation or int manipulation or array to our students. Yep. So next session would be fine for all of this. Otherwise, it will be an overload for the people who are not familiar with Java.
Yeah.
For me, it's good. So we can do it like tomorrow.
Okay.
Are you going to cover interfaces also in the next session, or is there a separate session for that?
So in abstraction and inheritance, you will get interfaces.
Okay.
And guys, one more request from my side. Like we have seen, like it was our first session, and it was basically focused on Java data type, and we have seen like we move towards the interfaces and abstracts during the session. So my request is to please stick to the topic, and if you have any questions related to other topic, it's better to ask when that topic is being discussed. Yeah, Viren, up to you.
Yeah. Any questions that anyone want to ask right now? All right. So so we will stay online for another half an hour. Anybody has a question that you were not, any question or anything that you were not able to understand earlier, because we tried to move little fast during some parts of our agenda today. So we are here for another half an hour. Anybody has any question, just stay online and ask us.
Brenda, do you know where this recording going to be hosted back? If you want to go and refer back.
Yes, I will share the location with you. Lux should be uploading it to one of our private YouTube channels, so we will update you on that.
All right, thank you.
All right, so yeah, so thank you for joining today's session. If you guys want to leave, you can, and if you have any questions, just stay along, and we can talk about it more.
I have no question. Can I leave the meeting now?
Yes, sure, Mark. Sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
So I think Viren, like we went a little fast on this tutorial. So guys, like if you have any questions regarding data types, like it's the best time to ask because I'm sure like you must have confused a bit a lot.
Viren, I have questions related to data type conversion.
Yes.
Yeah. Suppose I have a float, and it could be anything. I mean, 3.27 or something. Now, if I divide it using an int, okay, then obviously it would result in a float. But is it possible to divide float with some other data type like int? And if at all, I mean, if it's not possible, how do we convert the type? So those kind of doubts I have.
Okay. So yeah, it's a good question. but it's related primarily to the pure Java part. So yes, let me show it to you. So if I'm not wrong, because there is a lot of sound coming at your end, so if I'm not wrong, you asked if I divide a float with an int or probably an int with a float, so what will happen, right? So a equals to, right? So let's say we have declared a float, we have declared a int b equals to, let's say, 300, and we have declared again a float c x c equals to 8. So what will happen if I do a equals to b by c, right? This is the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So like almost all the languages have automatic data type conversion. So what happens is that when, so a is a float, we can see that a is a float, but b is a int, and c is again a float. So what happens is that while the division occurs, so c is converted to int because it is being divided by an int, it will be converted to int, but the result of b by c will be converted into float. So you will see that float a will be the final float result. Let me show you how it will be. So you will see that it has been converted back to float 37.5. So what happened is that, oh, I'm sorry, I think I said the other way around. So b will be converted to float, and the end result would be float. So whatever the final output type is, everything is converted into that type and then divided. So the output result is a float. If you do it other way, like you put int, everything will be converted to int and the output will come as an integer.
Okay.
And this happens automatically behind the scenes. It is the runtime facility that we get from almost every language. So this is the runtime conversions that happen. But one more thing, you have to be.
Would we be able to convert?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. So would we be able to convert string to integer on runtime? Like it happens on the background, or do we need to do it? Yeah.
String to integer.
Yeah.
No, you cannot convert string to integer at the runtime. You have to parse it to int first. So integer, well, these are pure Java concepts. Probably you might not even need it for your Selenium tests. So let's say you have a string. My string equals to 10, 19. So what will happen is that it might be possible that this string is not properly formatted, right? This could be like this, or this can have some other characters. So what is recommended is you always do a type conversion before, like this, integer dot parse. There has to be a method called parse. Yeah, parse int. So this is the first method, parse int. This method, this will accept a string, my string, and it will try to convert it into an integer. So it will try to convert it into the integer. If it is not able to convert it, it throws an exception. So ideally you should do this, and now the question was whether it will do it at the runtime or not. Well, it depends on the language. We will see how it happens in Java, but C++ doesn't allow it. C won't do any automatic conversion because it is against the compiler rules. But let's see whether it does it or not. Let's see whether this does it or not. So it is clearly throwing an exception. It's saying that, no, not this one. Yeah, it's clearly throwing an exception saying that operator divide is undefined for the argument type string and float. So division is not applicable for strings because it's a string. So you can't do a division at the runtime. It won't change anything. It won't even compile. But what you can do is you can try to parse it and then divide by C, then divide by something else. This way it will try to parse it. If it finds a valid integer value, it will convert it into the integer and it will divide it by a float. But the problem with this method is that it can throw exception. So you have to probably write it inside a try catch. Well, try catch is another Java concept. Probably I might overload it, but yes, this is how you parse a string first and convert it into a numerical data type and then divide it by something else. Does it answer your question? Laksh?
So guys, yeah.
Does it answer your
that
question?
answer my question. So guys, if anybody else have any question, are you able to get me, Virendra?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah.
Virendra, this is Arvind.
Yeah? Yeah, Arvind?
So here my string contains numeric values 1, 9. Now if my string contains characters like ABCD, then it should throw exception because then it will not make sense to convert that.
Yes, you are right. So you can see that in the definition. So this is a very good tool for good feature of Eclipse, which has this IntelliSense. IntelliSense is the runtime determination of definitions of any object or data type. So if you put your mouse pointer over %, you will see that a small window opens up, and this window gives you what %, does. So you will see that it returns an integer and it throws an exception called number format exception. So if at all it fails, if the string contains ABCD, then it will throw a number format exception. You have to catch that exception and you have to accordingly move forward.
Thanks.
So these all wrapper classes are a part of the default Java package, that is java.util, or any other package we need to import?
Which wrapper classes are we talking about?
These integer, string.
So integer is a part of java.lang package.
Okay, so have you imported or is it the default?
No, it is the default. So these classes come, so the type of project I have created, it comes by default.
Okay. I had another question regarding constructors.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand, like, what is the purpose of having a constructor? Why do you need it? What if I don't write a constructor? How will it benefit my program?
Okay, so well, this is the compiler level question. So a constructor is a place where all the memory allocation is done. So for the user, for the writer of the program, it just appears to be a simple method. But actually what is happening inside it is that when this function is called, the compiler or the runtime engine, it creates memory location for all the variables inside it. So this gives an access to all the internal variables of the class. So what happens is that Java runtime, when it instantiates a class, first it reads all the variables inside the class. So if you want to create a object, you have to first reserve a memory space. If you don't reserve a memory space, then there would be no place to write different values of the class. So the main purpose of constructor behind the scene is to allocate memory to the class object, to the object that it is trying to create, and at the same time it has a purpose to initialize the object as well. It has a purpose to allow the users to do couple of things while creating a class. Was I clear enough?
Okay. But then if I don't write, yeah, but if I don't define a constructor, if I don't write it, is it going to impact my execution in any ways?
So for simple programs, it would never impact it. It might never impact your execution. But what happens is that, for example, let's say, so by default, what Java does is it gives all the integer values a default value of 0, right? So let's say you haven't initialized the variable I count in your constructor. Now somebody who's using your class made a call to I count. It will get a wrong value. It will get 0, right? But I count is not 0 for a cat. So that way.
No, but I can initialize I count outside the constructor also, right? Why do I have to do it inside the constructor only then?
Let's say I initialize it using a method called initialize I count. Let's say we do it like this, right? So it's not inside the constructor, but it's outside it, but it's a new method. I count equals to 2, right? This is how you initialized it, right? Let's say, right? The problem with this approach is that it is you who knows that while creating a class, the very first method after initializing a class is to call initialize I count, so that I count has the right value. But the user of this class might not know. You have added an extra condition for the usage of your class, which is that every time you instantiate my class, you have to call initialize I count in order to get correct I count. So if somebody using your class skips initialize I count, he might end up getting a wrong value of I count, which is what you don't want. Okay. So that's why constructor has dual purpose. It creates memory location for your class. It initializes default values to the members, plus it gives you a place where you can do all the pre-work which is required to have a correct instance of your class.
Okay.
Does it clear your question?
Yeah. Do we have a destructor concept in Java?
Well, destructor, I haven't seen destructor in Java. Actually, I was reading about it today only. So usually you don't get destructors here, because the good part about Java is that it is a garbage collected language. It's a managed language. So what happens is that anything which goes out of scope is destroyed by the garbage collector. Garbage collector is a small, you can say a small program or a process which runs in the background, and the whole function of it of this thread is to find out variables which are not being used and to delete them to free up memory resources. So what happens is that even if you don't write a destructor, you explicitly don't remove all the memory once it is being used, it will be automatically collected by the garbage collector. So that's why in Java, if you don't have a destructor, you can go without it. But I'm not sure about whether we can write our own destructor as of now, but I was reading about it. Probably I can get more details about it tomorrow. But the whole purpose is that it is managed. It is garbage collected, so you don't have to worry about any pointer leaks or memory leaks.
Yeah, because suppose, for example, I have a file object and I'm reading a file, suppose, and I don't say file.close at the end of my program.
Yeah.
Then will the garbage collector take care of it, or do I have to again explicitly mention that I need to close the file? That's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah. So as per the documentation of the file stream object, I think the file object it is always a good idea to close it so that it frees up the memory resources and it is marked as to be garbage collected. So what happens is that, okay, so what file object does is that it is an object in itself, plus it creates a stream of the file. Whatever you are trying to read, it buffers it up. So there are two memory parts. One, the object itself, plus the stream of the file. When you do a dot close, it clears that the stream buffer, the file buffer, and it marks it itself as I am ready to be collected. So whenever it goes outside scope, it is collected by garbage collector. If you don't do a dot close, that stream buffer is still there and the garbage collector will think that this object is still being used, so I don't have to delete it.
Okay. So in some cases, I do have to identify certain objects and mark them for disrupting them, right?
Yes, yes, and it will be properly documented in the object documentation. For example, the file stream, it explicitly says to close the file stream.
Okay. Will you be able to provide us the link to all the documentation which you are referring to?
It's readily available on Java Docs, docs.java. You can search for the file object and it will take you through the Java Docs.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Hey, Viren, Lakshya this side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to speak with Ravi, Kunal, and Brahim. So are you guys still there?
Yes, I'm
Ravi,
still
Lok.
there. Hi, I'm still
Okay.
there.
So I just wanted to collect a fast feedback on this session so that like we would be able to improve us on the next coming sessions. So anything which you want to share, like which you didn't like it or which you wanted to be in our next session.
Yes, I want to be there.
Okay. Ravi? Kunal?
Yeah, there's Arvind. I like it, and I would be, more than happy to be part of it.
Okay. No, like, was that session fruitful for you? Like, did you understand each and everything? I know, like, it was a bit complicated some point of time, but if we talk about just data type, was that quite understandable for you?
Yeah, it was, and I mean, in short span of time, you cannot teach everything. It's up to us also to practice and then come back to you.
Yeah. So what we'll do, like, just after closing this session, Virendra and me will work on this, and like, we'll get some practical exercises for you, and then you can like practice those things, right?
Yeah, that would really be great. I mean, you can prepare a list of questions and then send that to us.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So
Well, any feedback from anyone is quite. We will appreciate that if you want to give a feedback.
okay, then I think it's all for today. We can drop the session now.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Let's see you tomorrow on the same time.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.